Home buyers are canceling purchase contracts at a very, very high rate. And what is Wall Street seeing that we aren't? Let's dig in. Home buyers are backing out of contracts at a rate of about 15%. That actually sounded really high when I first heard it, but when I dug in a little further, it's actually not much worse than our typical rate. As you can see here, we normally operate around a 12% clip, so a 15% is an increase, but not a huge one. Heck, during the initial scare of the pandemic, we were at a 17% clip, and that was at a really scary time. So 15 is high in my opinion, but not insane. What's interesting is the story hit the mainstream media. CNBC picked up the Redfin story and posted it last week. Again, a bit of a scare tactic, and the mainstream media is kind of just doing what they normally do, which is if it bleeds, it leads. But again, guys, let's unpack this for our clients. It's not that bad. The sky isn't falling. Yes, mortgage rates are higher and asking prices are coming down, but I wouldn't say they're falling. I mean, yes, technically they're falling when you have an asking price of $900,000 and then you drop the listing to say $800,000. Sure, the number's smaller, but I would argue that these listing prices are just coming back down to reality versus prices falling. It's actually a good thing. We've been talking about this for some time now. We needed to slow down in the market. It's been running at breakneck speeds and been too hot for too long. As much as everyone hates it, the Fed is doing exactly what they set out to do: fight inflation and slow these markets down. The opportunity in the adversity here is that the buyers now have room to negotiate, and they can actually leverage and use an actual inspection. Again, that's a good thing. And they can add back in things like an appraisal contingency. These are all good things for buyers. The opportunity is moving to buyers now, and the demand is still very, very strong. Yes, CNBC's 60,000 home purchase agreements fell through in June. That's a 14.9% rate of cancellations, but it's not much higher than our normal rate of 11 to 12%. Let's tell the whole story here versus stoking the housing bubble fears. Now, that being said, there's a few things that did get my attention last week and are on my radar. One, builders are slowing down their land purchases and their building rate. Builders see trends much better than any other sector, so when they pump the brakes, it's usually for good reason. Stuart, the Lennar chairman, was quoted as saying this: "It seems that these trends will harden as the Fed continues to tighten until inflation subsides. While we can choose to fight against the trend, the reality is the market has been changing and we are getting ahead of it by making all the necessary adjustments." Read between the lines there, guys. The other very interesting event that happened last week was the sudden closure of the nation's largest non-QM lender, Sprout. They were doing about $400 million a month with good loans, with strong loan-to-value positions, and they closed their doors seemingly overnight. Why? Well, that's the concerning part. They were in the midst of selling their monthly pool of loans and had $190 million for sale, of which only $90 million sold. Wall Street literally just snubbed their nose at these non-QM loans. And for those of you guys that don't know, non-QM is just a fancy term for loans that don't meet traditional guidelines, but these aren't the same loans from yesteryear. They're not the crazy loans from 2006. These were loans with 720 FICO scores and an average loan amount of $700,000 with good down payments. So Wall Street flipping the proverbial bird at Sprout at these loans is pretty concerning. And the fact that it happened so quick and abrupt. What are they seeing that made them change their mind overnight? Now that's something to watch. Links to the articles will be in the comments section below. So in totality today, a mix of good news and bad news, and actually wouldn't even say bad news, just concerning news. Something to pay attention to, and we will do so because, hey, that's what we do for you guys. Share today's show on social so we can dispel all the housing bubble boys and their narratives, and we will see you guys next week.